Number 6, is he so passive and preoccupied that communication with him is either impossible or like pulling teeth? Yes or no? Number 7, has your relationship with him taken a backseat to his obsessive and compulsive relationship with work, chemicals, alcohol, sex, gambling, pornography, sports, or even church? Yes or no? Number 8, is he indifferent to matters of faith, values, and morality, intimating that church and religion are for women and the weak? Yes or no? Number 9, does he seem too good to be true and able to charm anyone he meets? Yes or no? And number 10, is he afraid to take a stand or set boundaries with you or the kids and is such a people pleaser that he goes along with the crowd even when he knows it is not right for you, him, or your relationship? Yes or no? Each question refers to a specific Mr. Wrong who will make your life miserable. So if you answered yes to any of these questions, you are most likely in love with a Mr. Wrong. If you checked more than one, he must be really wrong. Here is the key to discovering which Mr. Wrong is in your life. Number 1, Mr. Angry. Number 2, Mr. Control Freak. Number 3, Mr. Mama's Boy. Number 4, Mr. Deceiver. Number 5, Mr. Eternal Kid. Number 6, Mr. Detachment. Number 7, Mr. Addiction. Number 8, Mr. Ungodly. Number 9, Mr. Wonderful. And number 10, Mr. Cowardly Lion. Avoiding Mr. Wrong and What to Do If You Didn't, by Stephen Arterburn and Dr. Meg J. Rennick. 10 Men Who Will Ruin Your Life. Narrated by Queen Rakilia at Get Married Whole Media. To my wonderful daughter, Madeline, who deserves a wonderful Mr. Right. May all the Mr. Wrongs get held up in eternal traffic on their way to our door. I pray her mother and I will be able to teach her the difference between Mr. Right and Mr. Wrong, and that she will feel deserving enough to wait for Mr. Best. SFA. To my dad, Paul E. Josephson, who has consistently been Mr. Right for my mom, B, his wife of 52 years. May his godly example continue to bear fruit in the lives of all 10 grandchildren and indirectly in the lives of all who read this book. MJR. Acknowledgements. A huge thanks to our initial editor, Brian Hampton, for taking a lot of time on this project and less on others so he could help us. Also, thanks to our final managing editor, Cindy Blaze, who brought this in whole, complete, and on time. Another huge thanks to friend and colleague Paul Meyer, MD, for his assistance on the clinical perspectives behind our 10 men. Even huger thanks to Victor Oliver, who helped conceive the book and successfully ran it up the Thomas Nelson flagpole. And the hugest thanks to Sandy Stevens' great, wonderful, wise, creative, fun, and unpredictable wife who stuck with him as he transitioned out of being Mr. Wrong. Introduction. Wait, do not turn that page. Even if you have never read an introduction to a book before, please read this one. Usually intros are boring and It is so tempting to rush ahead to one of the chapters, especially if you think you know someone who fits the chapter's title. We urge you to resist that temptation. It will be good for you, good for your character to delay gratification. And we do have some important things to say first. Honest. Why did we write this book? Does the world really need another male bashing book? No, it doesn't. So we didn't write one. While these men may be a minority, it seems everyone knows someone they regard as Mr. Wrong. All of us in the counseling professions would be just as happy if we never had to deal with difficult or destructive relationships again. Yet, every day we encounter the problem and it seems to do a lot of other people. Just in case you think we are just picking on men, by the time you have finished reading this book, finding Mr. Right will be well underway. We should be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Unfortunately, we are usually harmless to a fault and not very wise when it comes to getting into relationships. The church community is particularly naive in this regard. The men we describe in this book can be destructive to themselves, to their wives, to their children, to society. They are not safe people. Some are blatant about who and what they are. Others are more like wolves in sheep's clothing. In any case, we need to understand who they are and what to expect from them. We have written this book for at least 4 reasons. Number 1, to give women the quickness and accuracy of discernment and keenness of insight they need to not become ensnared in harmful relationships. Number 2, to give women who are already married or involved with such men a helping hand with how to cope in a healthy manner. Number 3, to challenge men to learn about their hurting male friends and help them. And number 4, to invite men who are struggling with characteristics of Mr. Wrong to see themselves as they really are and do whatever it takes to change. While some of these examples may seem extreme to those who have been insulted from the realities of life, more of these men are around than you might guess. For example, we know that on average, 1 out of 10 people has a sexual addiction. So, in a group of 200, there are about 20 sex addicts. If half of these are men, then this typical gathering of men would have 10 men who are struggling to not allow sex to completely destroy everything they hold sacred. Of course, there are even more who are struggling with pornography or some other sexual acting out behaviors, but not yet addicted to it. We will try to answer the following questions. What are the 10 types of men all women should avoid? What are the signs that someone may be developing these problems? What kind of women are they interested in? Why do women fall for them? What are the chances they will change? What can you do if you are already in a relationship with one of these men? What can you do if you are already married to one? In trying to communicate the distinctiveness of the 10 types of men with tough problems, we have used labels. Labels can be used destructively, reducing a person to a category, depersonalizing them, and completely negating their existence.